Good evening, sir and sirettes. My name is Blackclone, and welcome to the first ever solo CNA podcast on the Clone Podcast channel. Should go without saying that viewer discretion is advised. Names have been changed of both the residents and my coworkers, along with the facility, which is just going to be called the facility. For those who don't know, my name is Blackclone Badson. I am the main host and operator of the Clone Podcast channel. I am also a full-time CNA. I work primarily in the healthcare industry, of which is long-term and rehab care. I've been working as a CNA for about a year now, and it is a interesting and emotional roller coaster. There was a lot of ups and downs. There was a lot of good times. There was a lot of bad times. There was a lot of stress involved. And the main reason why I make these solo podcasts is the main reason why I'm trying to make this solo podcast, sorry about that, is so that way more people can get the understanding of what it's like to be a CNA. Right now, many facilities in my area are facing a shortage of CNAs. And for me, as a one-year experienced CNA, attempting to go into LPN, not this year, or at least not in 2021, but hopefully hopefully at the end of 2022, I will be able to apply and start becoming a LPN. Will that happen? I don't know. That's my main goal, is to be a weekend double nurse, give you guys that experiences and stuff, and much of the good things, So being a CNA is one of those that most people think of as just you wiping old people's ass. It's not about that. It's, in my own personal opinion, it's about having an emotional attachment with some of the residents. In my current facility, which I am leaving, I am not able to do that. I'm not able to fully care for them at my greatest capacity due to being extremely understaffed. And I physically cannot handle that anymore in that facility, so I am moving to a facility. It's a little bit closer to home. I used to drive 20 minutes to the current facility that I am at, and the closest facility now is 5 minutes, which is really close to home. So with it being really close to home, I'm hoping that I would be able to, with it being close to home, I'm expecting it to be close to a lot of people's homes, because I live in a very residential area. The one that's my current facility, it's way out there, so to speak. It's not by a lot of, it is by residential and schooling. It's just that it's in a more prosperous neighborhood, you know what I mean? So not a lot of people want to work at a low-end job as a CNA. And it's like, I understand that. So, my current pay as a CNA is $14.50 with 1 year experience. That isn't too bad. I'm getting paid above the minimum wage, which is $11, I think. It could be $10. Either way, I'm getting paid above minimum wage, so that's a plus. There's shift differentials, there's bonuses. It's really decent to be a CNA. But the one thing that I will say I like about being a CNA is, being able to take care of people. In my opinion, that is my passion. That's why I like being into nursing. One thing I don't like about it is the charting. The charting is one of the worst parts of being a CNA. But at least that's my opinion. Sometimes, it gives you a moment to calm down from everything that's going on, focus on one little thing, think about the residents, think about what you've done for them. You've helped them walk, you've been able to, some of them you have to feed them, some of them you've had to bathe them, And most people are like, oh, I don't want a job of wiping people's asses. I mean, but in all honesty, you really get extremely desensitized to that type of stuff. Like I said, I've been working for a CNA for about a year. I've seen so much stuff, and that's just with a week and double CNA, 2 days out of a week. I've seen so much stuff. I've seen some residents who have very complex problems where they don't want to stay in bed, but they can't walk. We can't restrain them because that's against the law. And so it's mainly just putting a bed underneath their bed, so that way if they do fall out, they just land on the bed and just scoot around, I mean, I've seen that happen. I've seen somebody with C. diff completely light up an entire bed and room. That's another thing. I used to have a resident who was so call-out happy. Every single 5 minutes she was on her call-out to go to the bathroom. And it was really annoying. 95% of the time she didn't even urinate. She just had the feeling of urinating, and it got annoying. I mean, that's when I was first starting out. When I first started out, I was like, do I even really want to do this? I mean, I just spent $500 on classes because I'm retarded and I should have gotten sponsored. But, that's one of those things that we didn't really think about. The one thing I do love at my current facility that I'm really going to miss, I really will miss it, it's the connections I had with the residents there and the nurses. Because there was so many wonderful nurses, and such deep connection with them, like talking to them and stuff that you get with a weekend double because you're there for 16 hours with them, That's more time than I spend with my girlfriend. And most people, I mean, in my opinion, it's once you have that connection of doing weekend doubles, it's kind of something special about it. And at least it's my opinion. My opinion is very, very special to be able to have that, sort of, connection with your coworkers and stuff. Although, the main reason, like I said, why I'm quitting my current facility and moving on to a different one is, I mean, I'm getting paid the same amount that I am at my current facility. The only difference is that the second shift diff is 50 cents more. They're not so understaffed as my current facility. I mean, all facilities are going to be a little bit understaffed, and it's like I wish people would, like be more open to being CNAs. Like if you're going to be low end, like don't look at fast foods. Start off a job as a CNA. I mean, you might not like it. But at the same time, it's, as I always say to people, it's about the experience, Like, you're going to learn a lot more about people, about what you like, about what other people like. You're going to get that good sense of empathy for working as a CNA. And, I mean, yes, you might get a little bit burnt out. I mean, but the thing is, you're always going to have that rhythm, that rhyme that's at a nursing facility or health and rehab or whatever type of facility that you work at. You can even just be working at a rehabilitation center and be a CNA. My friend who's quit to go into RN classes, I wouldn't say friend because I don't have his phone number, but a coworker of mine, he quit recently to go into RN classes, but he worked at a rehab facility quite a ways away. I was like, wow. I mean, they pay really good at rehab facilities. He was making $16 an hour, and I'm like, holy crap, boy. Damn, why'd you quit there to work here? And he's like, I don't know, I just wanted something new. And I was like, okay. I mean, if I'm ever going to quit a job, it's got to be because the pay is right. Like, I wouldn't have accepted my job at this current facility if I was getting paid the same amount. I mean, I take that back. It's closer to home, So less gas, less traveling. It's 5 minutes. So I really like that part of it. Like, if I was to forget something, I can just be like, oh, okay, turn around, come back, oh, hey. You know what I mean? And it's not an awful, whatchamacallit, 20-minute drive. Oh, Lord have mercy. 20-minute drive is, when you're tired from making doubles, that sucks the most, And the thing is, I pass by this facility every time I come, coming home, and I'm just like, why don't I just work there? It's close to home, it makes sense, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like, I don't want to leave my current facility, so, I'm going to try to be just PRing 1 day a week, extra. It's extra income, y'all can't blame me for extra income, you know what I mean? That's always kind of the good thing, You win some, you lose some. I'd say you kind of lose some a little bit more, but no, it's a win-win overall. I love the experience though. It's the emotional attachment. Like there's quite a few residents at my current facility that I enjoy very much. Like even though they don't really talk much, like one has a brain aneurysm, they don't talk very much, and if they do, it's really hard to understand them, and it's only like one word. But he's a sweetheart, And the other guy, oh my goodness, I don't know why, I just like him. He's at the late stage of dementia, and he's a very nice guy, even though he don't really know what he's doing anymore. See, and it's not HIPAA because I'm not saying their names. I'm just saying he. There's multitudes of he. There are thousands of he's. So sue me on that one. But yeah, there's thousands. So HIPAA violation, not a thing. Because I'm not telling you who they are or what their names are. So, can't sue me on that one. And also, you guys don't even know my work. I just say this facility, that facility, this and that. Alright, so that's just in case if people are getting worried about HIPAA. Nope, don't gotta worry about that. There's quite a few, but I'll say the most memorable. Sorry, my speech impediment. I can say the best me. But my most memorable, some sort of word that you remember. But one of those moments that is one of those, holy crap, I'm a CNA, and most of my older coworkers who don't work at the facility anymore, they know this one by heart, and it's funny because it's one of those. I was only 2 months of being a CNA. 2 months of being a CNA, still kind of getting used because they're flipping me around between 1 and 2 hall, and no, 1 and 2, 1 and 4, 1 and 4 hall, and I was doing the vitals for 4. I just got done talking to this guy, and I'll say this guy, he has blood in his stool. I've already notified the nurse about it. They already know that's been a thing. He was only admitted for 2 days, and I was talking to him. It's like, okay, so you don't want this for lunch, so would you like some grilled cheese and chicken noodle soup? And he's like, oh yeah, that's fine. I like chicken noodle soup. I like some grilled cheese. And I was like, okay, fine. Well, I'm gonna go get some vitals, and I'll come back and I'll talk to you. So I do my vitals and rounds, making sure everybody's okay. Everybody got what they need. Everybody got the water and ice. And ice water. Some people just like ice because they put soda in it. Some people just like water. They don't like ice. Whatever. No floats their boat. So some people over here, getting their vitals, getting their blood pressure, making sure they're breathing fine, they're not dying, they're not having a heart attack, and all that other stuff. So far, so good. Okay, great. Go to his room. I get his roommate's pulse and stuff. I'm like, so how you doing? No response. He still has a lot of color in him, so I'm just like, oh, maybe he's in a deep sleep. I put the pulse ox on him, put the blood pressure cuff, and I'm like, hey dude, you awake? Pulse ox is not doing anything, blood pressure comes back invalid. I'm like, uh-oh. I go get the nurse, and I'm just like, I go get another coworker, and I'm like, something's not right, what do I do? The other CNA yells at the nurse, and I'm over here going, what? I don't know what to do in this situation. Nobody tells me what to do when somebody dies. It's one of those, you're just like scratching your brain like, what the fuck? And over there doing CPR because he's a full code, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Like that entire point and moment, everything seems like very surreal. It's like a guy you were just talking to, not even 5 minutes. You're gonna leave him alone for 5 minutes, he winds up having a severe heart attack and is dead. Yeah. The EMS, when they arrived, they're like, oh yeah, he died about 5 minutes ago, and it's like, what? Yeah, heart attack. And it's like, what? You're over there because it's like 5 minutes ago, you were just talking to him. You were just talking to him about giving him grilled cheese and chicken noodle soup. And then the next moment, he's dead. That's something that you don't get over. And on my other podcast, with Newton Master and I forget what her, the Empress. Even though the Empress is my girlfriend, I don't know her alter ego. But anyways. But yeah, on the other podcast I talked about that, and it is a very surreal moment, And as I will say, I do smoke, although I'm trying to, cut back a lot, because I used to go through a pack pretty much every 2 days, and I'm trying to go to, 1 to 2 cigarettes a day. That's not going so well. Don't tell the Empress that. But yes, that was a very surreal moment. And the other CNA goes, the blood pressure incident. Oh my god. They gave me hell for an entire month on that one. I'm not even kidding. For an entire month to make sure the blood pressure cuffs work in Blackclone, and I'm just like, yeah. Because as they were doing CPR, the blood pressure cuff and freaking pulse ox was still on him and stuff, and it's like, holy shit. Wow. It's one of those things that you gotta watch out for as a CNA, because they don't tell you what to do. It's one of those moments where it's like, you think they're still alive, because he was still full in color. He was warm, still full in color, he literally just had a heart attack. Or maybe he had nobody knows when he had a heart attack to say the exact point. All we know is that he was dead when I arrived at his room. It's it would have been worse if he was cold. Because that's just have you even been looking at the people? But considering that we were just talking to him, it wasn't even 5 minutes. Between me getting the, vitals and stuff from other people to getting to his room, that time frame he had a heart attack. And nobody fucking knew. Although, one of the nurses was, calming me down, because at this point, it's 2 months, somebody had just died on me in my hall, and then, hey, nobody would have known that he had a heart attack, he was still warm and stuff, it's okay, stuff happens. Sorry about that little interruption. Family. Oh yes, dead guy. I remember that. Yes, I know, I'm very professional at doing podcasts. New I'm not, I'm still pretty new at this. But yes, surreal moments, you know what I mean? you don't really expect those type of things to happen, and yet when it does, you're very shocked, I've never met, but then again, it's not every day somebody dies at the facility. Not every day. It's very rare. Because most of the time, we send them off to the hospital, then they code, and then they die there. I'll say that's actually 90% of the time what happens. Because I'd say I've had 5 residents who I told the nurse something was wrong with them. They sent them to the hospital, and the next day, are they still at the hospital? Oh yeah, they died there. It's like, what the fuck? And it's like, how? And they're like, well, something happened, something popped up. They couldn't resuscitate them because they were DNR, and then bam. And it's like, oh shit. Whack! It is very whack when that type of happens. But yes, the 2 main halls that I do take care of at the facility, although not really anymore, I guess, is really 1 and 4. 1 is long-term care, and 4 is the rehab. People go in and out of 4 all the time. It's like kind of the reception, It really is kind of the reception hall, because everybody runs up there, and if they have COVID, they get sent out, and 400, they get assessed by therapy, they get assessed by the nursing and stuff, and if they just need therapy, then, they do the therapy. If they're able to start walking, being independent, then we send them off. If they need long-term care because they don't remember if they took medicine, or they don't take the medicine correctly and it'd be an at-risk to them, then they stay at, the facility. That's pretty much how it is in every single facility. So, or at least I would assume so. I'll figure that. I'll figure it out when I get across there, when I get to the other facility. And once again, if I do stutter a lot, I apologize. Speech impedimation. I do that a lot. That's why sometimes I slow down, think, breathe a little bit. It really does help out. And, yeah. So, I'm going to move on to the next story of the person with C. diff. Oh my goodness. So, we're going to refer to this lady. We're just going to refer to her as the C. diff lady. Although, there's a lot of people that do have C. diff in the United States, so I think I'm safe on that one. But she was crazy. Very, very, very crazy. She is one of the residents that will stay in my mind till the end of my life. Okay? She was something else. Because she popped up on the 400 hall. And, she popped up on the 400 hall. And it was like, oh, okay, another person for rehab. Nope. No. It did not turn out to be like that. It turned out that she needed a lot more than just physical therapy, because she came in with, just hip injury, which is very common in, most rehab for elderly and stuff, geriatric-wise. And for those who don't know what geriatric means, geriatric is literally treatment for old people, like nursing home is a geriatric facility. It's old people. Personally, I love geriatric care. I like doing geriatric stuff. I find it very, I don't know. I just like it. Is that weird? Is that weird to like being in geriatric care? I don't know. All I know is that, it's fun. You hear a lot of interesting stories, But going back to the C. diff lady, oh my goodness. Like, at first she didn't have C. diff. You know? At first, she was just a weird lady, rambling a lot. And I was like, I mean, you're bored. You're at the facility. You're gonna be bored. Ain't too shocked. I mean, I hate to say it, but it's like, I ain't too shocked. You know, you had a very boring facility. You want to talk to people, you know? And it's like, it's understandable. But, when she got C. diff, she got a lot more hostile. And at this point, it went from her being bored to her having a mental disorder. And her family was like, no, she's never been like this. She's never acted like this, you know. So it was quite a shock, you know. And very strange. And at this time at the facility, we were pretty decently staffed, you know. 1 CNA per hall. You know, I was doing 1, but helping out with 4, because 4, you couldn't really do much because of the C. diff, you know, C. diff lady. And we literally had to keep turning her every single, like, we had to change her every 30 minutes, you know. And it was crazy, because if you didn't, within an hour, the entire bed and floor would be covered in mucousy crap. Now, let that soak in for a minute. Mucousy crap. It is very, very distraught thinking. Like, the smell of C. diff alone. And this is going to get a little bit graphic here, folks. The smell of C. diff alone is god-awful. It is. Like, if I was to put an ostomy bag, like, an ostomy bag is top on the why do I do this job. C. diff hits second home run. Oh my god. Like, the normal smell of crap and diarrhea, I can handle. You know, because, you know, you kind of nose blind to it because you've been doing, you know, that shit for a year. And yet having to change an ostomy bag is god awful. There is no words I can say for the stench of an ostomy bag. Unless you've changed an ostomy bag yourself, there's no other god awful stench I can say that an ostomy bag has. It's just so bad. Like, I never thought that something would smell so rancid in my life. But no, an ostomy bag. But there's my rant for the ostomy bag. Going back to the C. diff lady. C. diff, it's awful. It's slimy. It smells rancid. It smells like an egg. I can describe C. diff. It smells like rotten eggs, shoved up somebody's ass, let it sit there for 3 days, mixed in with shit and diarrhea. Pretty much there. That's a very good description I can say about it. Very good description. It's awful. Cleaning it up, also awful, because it's slimy. It doesn't want to stick to anything. Like, you know, I can get a bunch of freaking rags and, like, try to scoop it up to put it in the biohazard bag, because C. diff is very contagious. But yeah, C. diff, it's one of those things where, like, if you smell it, you'll know it, you know. That's one of those things about being a CNA, is that you kind of get a gist of what some people's medical conditions are once you've been around it. And for some residents, I don't even have to be like, I wonder what they have. Some of them I just know. It's like, oh, that person, they have stroke. You know what I mean? Because, like, half the body doesn't work, or sometimes they struggle to do things. And that's the point of long-term care facilities. is to take care of people who can't take care of themselves. And going back to what I said in the beginning, it's a very beautiful thing to be able to help somebody take care of themselves. You know? And that's why I say it's very big. It's very sad and big that there is a severe understaffment of CNAs. It's very disheartening. Very heartening, or no, yeah, disheartening. I know words. It's very sad because the facility that I work at now, we just don't have enough people working the weekends. And when you physically cannot handle the workload, which is why I'm not completely quitting there, I'm just going as needed, and I'm mostly just going to be doing one day a week just to help out with showers and stuff. You know, that alone, it ain't too bad. At the same time, it's like it's something you don't want to do. Does that make sense? But I mean, I don't know the state regulations for when a facility will shut down because of understaffment, but the weekends are always just terrible, you know. And me wanting to stay doing weekend doubles, it's, you know, just something I always want to do because it fits my schedule, it fits my personality, and it fits what I'm able to do. I'm still getting, 4 days of pay for just working 2 days, and I still have, 4 to 5 extra days to do whatever the heck I want. I mean, in my opinion, that's probably the greatest thing of all time. Although, some people may not like it. Some people, they love it, Like, some people couldn't bear to work 16 hours, go to sleep for a little bit, and work another 16 hours. Like, I get that. I completely get that. I mean, at least that's me. I understand where some people are coming from. I get it completely. And on the same hand, same deck of cards, it's like, sometimes it's one of those that needs to be done. That's the one thing I do like about nursing, is that I'm able to do double shifts. I don't know any other place where you can do double shifts. I don't. And it's something that I never really thought would fit my personality, but it really does. Yeah. I mean, that's just my 2 cents on there. Let's see here. Trying to think of, there's some people also in long-term care facilities, which I'm like, why are they in there for? Because there are some people in long-term care facilities which are relatively independent. And some of them don't have, strokes or dementia where they need to be watched to make sure everything's okay with them. I don't get why they're there, And some people just let themselves go. There's one lady in my facility who pretty much has done that. She has let herself go. She could be able to walk if she wanted to, but she doesn't. And it's one of those, if she was to be in therapy and stuff, she probably would be able to walk, but she just chooses not to. She just chooses to sit in bed all day, have people change her and stuff, and that's pretty much it. And it's sad. I said, you see a few things or two. But with that out of the way, I'm going to end this episode of the Solo CNA Podcast. if you guys enjoyed, the like button down below, subscribe. If you guys want to know anything, just comment it down below. Like anything that would be a CNA, like what is the typical life of CNA? I mean, I'm gonna probably, tell that next episode. But these episodes are primarily gonna be short, sweet, kind of straight to the point. And if anything interesting happens, then, I put it up there like I do with some residents, But yeah, with that out of the way, next episode I'm going to be talking about what is the life of a CNA like, especially the weekend double, and so on and so forth. So if you guys enjoyed the video, hit like button down below, comment, anything, subscribe if you want to. I ain't gonna force you. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.